Good morning, everyone. It's my great pleasure to give a presentation. My name is Yunshu. My topic is about explosive detection using an orthogonal sensor. A group of 4 people work together on this project, including me, Mr. Daniel Mallin, Mr. Matin, Amani, and our major advisor, Dr. Otto Gregory. Here's the outline of my talk. Why do we do this? Our sensor design, the results, and conclusion based on that. So nowadays, explosive detection has drawn lots of attention to many research groups, and several detection techniques has developed for this purpose. However, improvised explosive devices, which is known as IEDs, have evolved to employ both nitro and non-nitro-based explosives, including like peroxide-based explosives. So alternative techniques for trace detection are required. Sensors has many advantages for this purpose, so it's ideal to detect IEDs. However, there's one limitation for that, which is that it requires a relatively high vapor pressure for its target materials. So here's a diagram indicating the saturated vapor pressure for several common explosives. The ones highlighted in blue color are the ones selected for our research, including ammonium nitrate, 2,6-DNT, which is dinitrile toluene, and triacetone triperoxide. The reason we select these 3 is because these 3 have higher vapor concentration in relative to others like DETN or RDX. Also, they include both nitro-based and non-nitro-based explosives, and they covers both organic and inorganic explosives, and it covers peroxide-based explosives. So that's why we selected 3. This is an actual picture of our sensor device, and these 2 are the schematics. The reason we call it an orthogonal sensor is because it's comprised of 2 independent platforms, a conductometric and a thermodynamic platform. These 2 platforms share the same catalyst, but they can work independently simultaneously. How does a conductometric platform work? Well, it measures the resistivity of the catalyst layer, which is a metal oxide. Whenever the explosive molecules interact with the catalyst, there will be a charge carrier transfer going on during the absorption and desorption process, and the computer will capture this change of resistivity. This is a well-developed technique. It can go to a very low detection limit, as low as part per billion. However, it has very poor selectivity among different species with similar functional group. That's why we introduced the second platform, which is the thermodynamic platform. It utilizes a differential scanning calorimetry technique. It has 2 core components, which is a micro hot plate and the same catalyst used by previous platform. During testing, this hot plate will be powered up and maintained under a certain temperature. When the explosive molecules interact with the catalyst, there will be a heat effect going on associated with the catalytic decomposition process. In order to compensate the heat effect, the computer will adjust the power output to maintain the same temperature. And this adjustment of power will be recorded and studied. And then the computer will change to the next power setting and move this experiment to the next temperature range. And then we will be able to collect a profile of response as a function of temperature, and then we can study it. Well, different explosive molecules will tend to have different catalytic decomposition and thus different heat effect. So the profile can be used as a signature for their identification. Still, there is a challenge because the conductometric platform prefers to yield maximum sensitivity when using non-stoichiometric metal oxide catalyst. However, the thermodynamic platform prefers otherwise. So to answer the challenge, we developed a treatment process by depositing non-stoichiometric to the substrate, then heat them into like 500 degrees C for 5 hours within pure nitrogen to improve the quality of the film. By the end of the heat treatment, we'll introduce a very little bit partial pressure of oxygen for only 1 minute. This process will create a stoichiometric thin layer on the very top of the catalyst, with the main body part being non-stoichiometric. To confirm this finding, we did X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy. 3 measurements were taken for each catalyst, with in position 1 being the very top surface, and position 2 and 3 are 100 and 500 angstroms from surface. So here are the results. As you can see that, the target material is tin oxide. As you can see that in the body part, the peaks are very sharp compared with the ones from the very surface. And also you can see there's a very clear shift of peak location from the surface to the body part, which these two phenomena indicates that there is an obvious change of oxidation state from top surface to the body of the catalyst material. And also same experiments were done with zinc oxide, and similar conclusion can be made. There is an obvious shift of peak location for zinc 2p electrons, and also here you can see a clear disappearance of subpeak here compared with these two, and similar conclusion can be made that multiple oxidation states appeared on the surface. However, there's only one oxidation state, which is non-stoichiometric, exists in the body part. So this is the typical results collected from our sensor, and this entire test is maintained at 410 degrees C. By 60 seconds, we introduce our target material, which is 260 DNT. The sensor, for both platforms, responds immediately in 5 seconds, and by 360, we cut off the supply of the explosives, and they slowly recovers to the baseline. Similar experiments were done with zinc oxide, and it kind of takes longer to respond and takes much longer to recover. And by combining the experiments in various different temperature set points, we would be able to obtain a profile of this explosive. Here is a concentration test. Here the dashed line here represents target gas concentration, which decrease in a form of step function. As you can see that the blue curve, which indicates thermodynamic signal, it tracks the concentration very well. It represents a linear relationship. However, the conductometric signal kind of stayed the same after first cycle. This difference is because they have relatively different sensing mechanism and cause this. So this is what we call the profile of each explosive materials. As you can see that ammonium nitrate is kind of proportional to temperature increase and peaked here at around 350 degrees C. DNT kind of the same proportional to temperature, which has a much shallower slope. The peak range is much wider and around 250, between 250 and 350. While TATP hardly change as temperature increase. And similar experiments were did with zinc oxide, and similar conclusion can be made that with each species has very different behavior, we can use this as our advantage to identify these explosives. So to conclude my work, we demonstrated a orthogonal sensor using 2 kinds of catalysts. The selectivity of a sensor can be achieved by combining the 2 techniques. Our detection limit are established using the concentration test, and the building redundancy of data can benefit us in mitigating false positives. We'd like to thank the Department of Homeland Security Center of Excellence for supporting this work. Thank you.